Scott here. I realize today's youth is way into getting corrupted, so it's only fair to give every possible good or service an age-appropriate rating. Introducing the Food Eating and Ratings Association, or FEAR for short, where we give all food on the market a rating so you can decide if it's right for you and your kids. E for edible, R for ranch, and ITLFN. It tastes like f***ing nickels.
Rated everyone 10 and up.
What I would give to win a sweepstakes dinner with that guy. The ESRB, the narcs who made us play Simpsons Hit and Run instead of Grand Theft Auto 3. They played a major role in helping to mitigate some video game controversies, even when there's been more of them after the rating system was established. Media has always been under scrutiny for being bad influences on our youth. Television, film, music, literature, all of that countless controversy surrounding them in terms of content. Rock and roll was thought to corrupt the youth when it debuted. Schindler's List was broadcast on network television unedited. You can tell that ruffled a few feathers. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Gremlins were both rated PG and featured some not-so-PG elements, and I'm still not allowed to read Catcher in the Rye. But video games were always seen as the worst of all those mediums. With a violent movie, you're watching a killer. With a violent video game, you are the killer. There have been so many controversies surrounding games. Pinball machines were outlawed for a while due to being considered gambling, leading to 70s arcade games facing outcry. The game Death Race shocking many for its portrayal of running over gremlins. Gacha's controls were designed to look like Custer's Revenge on the Atari 2600, doing the whole Custer's Revenge thing. And as the years went on, technology advanced, and violent video games weren't, oh, it kind of looks like you're killing people. They were more like video games as a whole were leading up to that moment. Video games were becoming more graphic and thus raised more eyebrows. In the arcade, games like Splatterhouse just rubbed blood and gore into your face. Narc was an incredibly violent one where you blew up dozens of people, but they were all drug dealers and the game had an anti-drug message. And of course, Mortal Kombat. The fighting game craze started with Street Fighter II in 1991, and a year later, Mortal Kombat came out and had to stand out from the crowd. It utilized digitized graphics, which looked insane at the time. It was so realistic. But also to help it stand out, it had a little help from our friend Gore. The game already caused tons of controversy due to this, but it was multiplied exponentially when the game made its way to home consoles, especially the Sega Genesis. Positioning the Sega Genesis as the more adult console, Sega felt the need to live up to that reputation by allowing more mature games on the system while also imposing less censorship than Nintendo. This was famously done with the home versions of Mortal Kombat. While both the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis versions initially lacked the blood and gore of the arcade version, all you had to do on the Genesis was enter in that sweet cheat code to enable it. While this made the Genesis port a hit with kids, it didn't bode well with parents and even the US government. December 9th, 1993 was the day a congressional hearing was held to discuss violent video games and a potential system to rate the games based on their content and themes. Mortal Kombat was a major talking point alongside the games Lethal Enforcers, Night Trap, and later on Doom. Yeah, the content in these games were more mature than others, but a lot of the examples of things these games did that went too far feel a bit over-exaggerated. Lethal Enforcers used a blue toy gun and had you shooting bad guys as a police officer. Night Trap was a full-motion video game for the Sega CD that was as harmless as a lame direct-to-video B-movie. And Mortal Kombat, yeah, I have no excuse for that one. Representatives for Nintendo and Sega were present, with Nintendo's Howard Lincoln standing strong and just throwing Sega under the bus, acting like Night Trap was the most heinous thing ever constructed by man.
Obviously, it would not pass our guidelines. This game, which as you've indicated, promotes violence against women, simply has no place in our society.
This scene from Night Trap was the one everybody got up in arms about. You can't look at this scene and say, oh man, this is poisoning the minds of our youth. Like, what's going on here? To anyone watching this scene, it looks like a bunch of burglars were pumping a girl's neck with some machine, which led to everybody saying, I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. Even though at the time of the hearing there would be no technical way for Night Trap to run on a Nintendo console, Lincoln made one thing very clear.
And let me say that for the record, I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system.
Nintendo wasn't immune to criticism during the hearing, but Sega was getting absolutely slaughtered, mainly due to the significant increase in mature themes with games on Sega platforms. With Mortal Kombat's blood and their own game Night Trap, they had it rough that day. In their defense, Sega initiated their own rating system a few months before the hearing. GA for general audiences, MA13 for 13-year-olds and older, and MA17 for 17-year-olds and older. They were blasted for possibly only using a rating system to fight the backlash, and due to the age ratings being too vague, even though the ESRB ratings are basically the same thing.
This is a copy of the packaging. There was no rating on this game at all when the game was introduced. Small children bought this at Toys R Us, and he knows that as well as I do. When they started getting heat about this game, then they adopted the rating system and put ratings on it.
While a lot of the arguments made during this time were obviously kind of uninformed and pretty silly, it simply made sense for video games to receive content ratings just like movies and television, especially considering the drastic differences between content and games. They weren't necessarily trying to censor games, rather making sure consumers were aware of what they were buying. More hearings were held later in 1994, and it was agreed upon most game companies to initiate a game rating system, with major retail outlets making it clear they would not buy games without a rating. That year would see the creation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board, or the ESRB, an organization that gives video games age-appropriate ratings. Developers send in videos of their projects showcasing standard gameplay and what could be deemed more objectionable content to receive one of initially 5 ratings: early childhood, kids to adults, teen, mature, or adults only. Later in 1998, kids to adults was renamed to Everyone, and in 2005 the new Everyone 10 and Up rating was introduced with Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Because this game couldn't have possibly been rated E for everyone, that's f***ing ridiculous. Later the design of the ratings changed to pure black letters, with a slight design revision in 2013. Good? Remember these spray paint stencil designs? There's something oddly charming about the old school look of these ratings, especially the K to A one, even though I definitely prefer E for everyone, as it's way more straightforward and clear. Back during the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox era, it felt like there was a nice variety of games rated E, T, and M. Nowadays it feels more like it's everything or nothing. Honestly, how many times have you seen a T-rated game this generation? Of course, there's the elusive EC and AO. EC is fairly uncommon, mainly used on edutainment games on the PC. ESRB's website claims that only 289 games have been given the rating. On the exact opposite side of the spectrum, Adults Only is by far the rarest rating, with only 27 games rated as such. Now, there's really not a ton of games rated AO for a few reasons, one of them being the fact that most AO-rated games are basically... Another being the fact that all console manufacturers have a policy against AO games, stating that they aren't allowed on the platforms, and similarly, most retail chains won't carry products rated AO. This is the main reason we don't see the rating too often. If developers actually want to sell their game and it happens to get rated AO, they have to go in there and change some things up. More recently, the game Agony received the rating, and the developers had to tone the violence down to go full-on M-rated so it could be released on consoles. Due to the Big Three's policies, the majority of AO games have only appeared on PC, exceptions being the Philips CDI and a DVD game. However, we do have 2 more examples of AO games on consoles, one being Thrill Kill on the PS1. The game got hit with an AO rating but never released commercially. You can find the ROM online crazy easily though. The other one was... Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, so that's why CJ isn't in Smash Brothers. After the game's released, an unfinished sex scene was found in the game's files, later dubbed as the Hot Coffee mod. It wasn't accessible without hacking the game, but people were angry, even though the game was already rated M. And like I said, it wasn't accessible without hacking. It was nothing special. You get the same experience from watching 2 action figures going at it, but it was a big enough deal that the game was re-rated AO and pulled from shelves, which led to Rockstar re-releasing the game to re-achieve an M rating, which is why you'll see many copies of San Andreas with 2nd edition written on them. A similar situation went down with Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, where a random somebody made a nude mod for the game. And it was discovered deep within the game's files existed the art the mod used for the nudity. That was uncalled for. Nowadays, it feels like more mature content is getting the pass within lower age ratings. Indigo Prophecy's unedited PC release was originally given an AO rating, but recently with the release of an uncensored remastered version, it was given an M. Also, Galgun Double Peace is a game where you shoot pheromones at girls and it's rated E for everyone. Guys, society finally accepts us. It was a misprint. Sometimes a game's rating can leave you perplexed, like, how the How are so many Kirby games rated E10+? Like, I get it, Kirby games can get kind of intense, but too intense for a 7-year-old? Games in series well known for being one specific rating can change things up at a moment's notice, and it weirds me out. Dark Souls? Oh yeah, big M-rated series. Oh, okay, Batman Arkham series. Well, Phoenix Wright. Oh, come on! Fight Night, an EA Sports title, easy contender for family fun, Jesus. When you look at this, ESRB.org has a description of content found in games that could be objectionable. I gotta say, many M-rated games definitely have a hearty dose of f***ing shit. With the ESRB being around for nearly 25 years, it's maintained its place as one of the most important aspects of the gaming industry. That. With the inception of digital games, kids can buy as many M-rated games as they want. Like, kid walks into the store, buys PlayStation Network bucks, goes home, buys Bloody McSexy in the game, and becomes Genghis Khan. Like, come on, I thought we got rid of that guy. Disregarding that, so many parents just buy their kids M-rated games with no second thought. They just don't look at the ratings and then blame the game for being too vulgar for their kids. Why don't you actually be a parent and regulate what media your child consumes rather than blaming the media itself? Different people are into different things, meaning not every piece of media produced is going to be G-rated. That's true concerning everything, especially video games. Most video games that garner controversy for being unsuitable for children are already rated M. But is that ever brought up when all these big shots who know nothing about video games talk about how video games are corrupting society? No, they just talk about how the newest Call of Duty is poisoning our children when, guys! It's absolutely ridiculous how hard it is for people to notice the bold black letter in the corner of these games. Well, I'm taking a stand. We need to expand the size of these things.